Last week, we discussed artificial intelligence taking us all to an early or even earlier grave. But what if artificial intelligence just but what if artificial intelligence doesn't destroy humanity, but instead becomes the key to solving our greatest challenges? Are we on the verge of curing cancer, reversing climate change, and ending scarcity itself? We could be standing on the threshold of possibilities that make the next century the most extraordinary period in human history. Welcome to Temporally Scripted. I'm Jack Austin alongside Adam Garcia, and today we're exploring Silicon Utopia, AI's potential to bring in a golden age. Flipping last week's dark script to examine how artificial intelligence could usher in an era of unprecedented human flourishing. We're going to look into how it could revolutionize medicine, make personalized treatments available to everyone, and even extend healthy human lifestyle dramatically. We'll also look at how it could eliminate repetitive work, make education available to everyone, and help us explore the cosmos. And most importantly, we'll discuss the conditions that need to be met for these optimistic scenarios to become a reality rather than a Silicon Valley fantasy. Let's jump over to Adam now, who I know is our biggest skeptic on AI ushering in a future of happiness. Adam, how's it going there, my friend?
Pretty good, as always. I'm living in fear of coming AI apocalypse, but maybe it'll be okay. Maybe this episode is a chance to explore the reasons why it could be that utopia that we've all been dreaming of.
Yeah, and that's it. And that's going to be my role today as the optimist of the crew. As those of you that have watched us before, you will know that I'm a very optimistic character when it comes to everything. Really, I'm a ray of sunshine.
Especially when it comes to AI, because you have an AI business, and so it's all good. People can give you lots of money before the machines wipe us out.
Yeah, that's the plan, is to just make enough out of it to kind of at least get myself in a 5-star metaverse.
Which will be an episode for next week. Tune in, folks.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll be discussing the metaverse next week for sure. So obviously the biggest one for me with AI in the future that it's bringing in is the fact that a lot of the problems we have in the world right now are because we don't have the computing power or the foresight or the brain to figure out how to solve a lot of those problems. But some of them, and we did allude to this at the beginning, like I'm not even sure are problems, but I'm not going to dig into that because it might get us limited by the algorithm.
What again?
I saw a t-shirt last week that said stop volcanic eruptions.
Right, okay.
Because at the moment we have more volcanic eruptions going on across the world than we've ever had. I think there's so many different volcanoes that are active at the same time, and each one is releasing like 2 years worth of emissions, like carbon emissions, into the atmosphere.
Oh, I remember hearing something similar about something a couple of years ago where we were saying that there was so many greenhouse gases that had been released and things, and how water vapor really is one of the worst greenhouse gas that you can have. And there was like a huge underwater volcano that was going off and basically just vaporizing water and releasing it as steam. So yeah, it would be pretty bad because you'd have all the other gases that come off. But then you'd have the cooling effect as well of all the ash in the sky.
Yeah, like sort of blocking out the sun and whatnot.
Because I mean, that was the thing, like the start of the Dark Ages, I think, was it year 532 or 536, something
Can't
like
remember.
that. It like was it? but there was like a huge volcanic eruption that just put so much ash and dust into the sky that it actually caused cooling of the earth, and so like crops were failing. Just everything got bad around that time. That's times in history when you get things like plagues and all kinds of problems, and it took like years and years to recover.
And I think it almost that comes back to setting the scene a little bit for where we're at today, right? Everyone feels like the world right now is pretty terrible, but if you would go back to such times in existence, life was pretty shit back then, right? Life was terrible. Fuck it, let's just leave him in. But yeah, life was pretty shitty back then. And I think sometimes we have this view now that life is a lot worse than it actually is. And the way the world is these days is much better than it would have been, for example, in Tudor times. And one of the things that we were watching just before this episode is there's a new AI called Google VO3, which is able to produce high quality cinema level HD video. Granted, only 8-second clips, but with most people's attention spans these days, that's enough to make a whole movie. And it was like,
it wouldn't even make it through to the end. It's like got to 7 seconds.
I'm bored of this now. Yeah, perhaps that explains our views.
Viewer retention pretty low.
yeah, but with things now like VO3, it almost becomes accessible for everybody to make and create their own entertainment in any way they want. And what we watched before this was a guy going around a Tudor English town, interviewing people and getting their answers about, you know, how their daily life was and what they'd been doing. And I think one of the things that came out of it was like the guy who said, yeah, I've stepped in dung this morning. I've been taxed. And it's really quite funny, but also cost a matter of a few dollars to make.
Yeah, which is really cool. So, I mean, I could envisage a time when you don't really have Hollywood so much anymore. You say to the AI what you'd like to watch, and it'll just make it for you. And it'll be in tune with your taste, your sense of humor. And so you say, okay, I'd like you to make a comedy version of the Epic of Gilgamesh, starring Marilyn Monroe and Leslie Nielsen. And it'll go, okay, just getting that for you. Ta-da! And you'll just be able to watch movies like that. Maybe. Who knows?
I think definitely. I think that's where we're going. I think even a step further where it could be like, okay, we want a movie and it's Jack and Adam and they're going to be on the west coast of America and some kind of disaster happens and they're struggling to find their way back to their car or whatever. And it's like in the style of Scorsese. It's like a Scorsese dude, where's my car action gangster film that stars me and you.
Yeah. And you could keep bits of it. And then or whatever else.
Yeah, exactly. Like little bits and bobs in there. And then does it not then meritocratize the entertainment industry? Because as we know, there are certain ways that certain people become famous and others don't. And a lot of that would be geography, being that Hollywood is mostly America. Some of it is other things that we can't really mention right now. And whether or not that's part of...
There's the whole like nepotism thing as well, where you don't always realize, but there'll be some famous Hollywood actor or actress, and then there'll be a picture with like them and their uncle, who's some other incredibly famous Hollywood actor. And it's like, it just seems to be all these families going through. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, it would kind of make it more, more fair for actual people to be able to do it. Or would we even have Hollywood anymore anyway?
Well, I don't think so. I think it becomes at this point, and even it's something I'm looking at, is starting to be a high-end advertising agency, because I can make adverts, and if you know frameworks, then you're able to do it. You're no longer constrained by budget and by location to do these things anymore. So before it's like, okay, I'll be a graphic designer because my chances of being in Hollywood are done. Well, now it's like, well, no, actually, you can do it from your house for less than a couple of $100.
Oh, it's insane. I was working on something recently using things like Runway and various other image generators. And to make all that a few years ago, that would have cost like probably hundreds of thousands of dollars, because you're making films, you're doing all these designs, generating logos, getting characters to act, all these kinds of different things. But now it's just like, okay, well, I've got this subscription for $15 and this one for $20, and between them I can make something that looks really cool. It's awesome, really.
Yeah, and all of the frameworks for these things are available, like the frameworks for what makes good script writing, for what makes good songwriting, for what makes anything really. It's all frameworks that have existed for millennia, patterns and semantics that have always been the way that they are. And if you can take those and feed them into various different AIs, you can create like scripts and like telling what the mood should be, what the lighting should be, what the angles should be, like all of these things that as a layman you probably don't know about. But if you can think of something funny or something scary or whatever entertaining, then you can go and make it.
Yeah, which is such an amazing opportunity that we just didn't have before. It could even, if Hollywood was sticking around in the near term, it could maybe sort of speed it up or make it a bit more relevant if the right people do it. Because at the moment, it takes an average of 4 years to make a Hollywood movie. And that's why stuff like Disney keeps having these like absolute flops, because they'll make something that's like, or something will be released that's like hyper woke or something like that. Because that massive woke thing was really in vogue 4 years ago. And then it comes out and everyone's just like, oh, what's this? I've had enough of this, because they're so far behind the times. They can't make anything current.
Yeah, yeah. But well, you notice that this year there's not as many companies like changing their logos to flags like there was last year after what happened to Jaguar and
Oh,
Miller
right.
Lite and all of these other companies. There's that is the month that we've just been through, and you don't see any news about it anywhere because it's no longer on trend or on vogue for it to be what everyone is pinning themselves to, which just shows you that most of these big businesses and companies and corporations, they don't actually give a shit about the causes that they're putting themselves against, whatever that cause is. They're just doing it because they know it's going to get them clicks and views and
Yeah.
conversations.
It's just riding the wave of whatever novelty thing is there, and then a bit of virtue signaling, and oh wow, you not only sell cars, but you're really inclusive and open and understanding. It's a factory. It makes things with wheels. It really doesn't care.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite funny as well with something like Jaguar. It's like the equivalent of like Ron Seal going, "This is our Pride Month Ron Seal edition." It's like, lad,
quick drying rainbow wood stain.
know your audience. Do you know what I mean?
It was
Pepperami, like.
it was absolutely bizarre, because I don't know many people that have owned Jaguar cars, one or two, but I don't think either of them would have been particularly impressed by that advert, or would have been, had they not owned a Jaguar, seen that advert and gone, I'm definitely buying a Jag now.
I'm getting another one. Yeah. Jaguar. It doesn't really have like that's not the ring that you get to. It's not a Mini Cooper, is it?
Yeah.
Or a VW Beetle. Here we go. We're always sexualizing cars. That's what we do here on Temporally Scripted Show. Finding new ways to get cancelled. But yeah, so that's entertainment, and I think entertainment is going to become the main part of what this future we're going into does, because as things get easier to do in business, in creation, in marketing, and you name it, right? Everything can be done better and faster and quicker with AI. And to be honest, that big concern of everything will look the same, that's only because people suck at using AI right now. If you have any capability with AI, you can create unique things with it.
I was thinking about this the other day, because you're going to have a thing where there'll probably be an app that will just create an advert for you just whatever you think it is, it'll choose like the best thing, best scripting, all that kind of thing. But that'll all be done from what's been the most successful in the past. So you will have this like really generic thing. And so it's one of those times when if you are an advertiser, creator, whatever, you have to like actually up your game a little bit and think outside of the box, because I think there will be a lot of like generic stuff. Oh, ChatGPT, write me a script for an advert about this, and it'll use like a fairly standard thing for everything, I would think. And so you're gonna have to start coming up with more interesting ideas.
Yeah, and interesting spins on stuff. But the funny thing with that is as someone who's into copywriting and like that world, the formula for what works has been the same ever since they first figured it out, really. And usually where people fail is they try and do something that's too new and outside of it because they think, oh, well, this has already been done. So I need to figure out my own way of doing it so that it's more unique and better and more clever or whatever. And they bomb. They just bomb because people are quite simple, really. And there's like basically there's three drivers. The thing that drives people to take action is pain or perception of future pain. Desires some of it, but not really, because people are lazy as anything, right? They don't want to do anything unless they know that it's going to hurt them, either now or in 2 months' time, right?
Right. So you say, buy my car or I'm going to kick you in the nuts.
Yeah, exactly. That's a beautiful way. Or buy my car because all your neighbors will have this car in 2 months' time, and you won't get into the country club or whatever it is. So there's basically it's that, and then they're always in the areas of health, wealth, or love, and they're the three areas that if you have a business that solves a pain either now or in the future, that's either related to someone's health, to someone's wealth, or someone's love life, then you've got a product basically. And if it falls outside of that, then it's just likely not going to work. And the same with, unfortunately, with the size of the planet and the way technology is, if you come up with an idea that nobody's ever done before, it's probably shit.
Maybe, yeah.
Because
I didn't think of it like that. Loads of other people have come up with the idea and gone like, yeah, right, put that on the scrap heap.
Yeah, it's like a chocolate teapot, Tok H lamp level idea. And do you think you're a genius because you're like, nobody's doing this? It's like, yeah.
There's a good reason for it.
Because someone got like 9 months down the road of developing this thing and then they launched it and no one bought it. And it was like, oh.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, ideas-wise and things, everything's just moving so quickly these days as well. So it's a very quick development from something being released to being copied and produced by someone else, where there used to be more of a lag time with that kind of thing. I think it works in lots of different ways. So with products, definitely something comes out, fine, well, it'll be replicated in China pretty soon. And it's the same with apps and everything else. In fact, I saw something the other day. There's like an AI tool called Replit, where you just put in, it's like making apps and things like that. You can just put in the kind of app that you want and it'll make that app for you. And it's low cost. It's really cool. What some people were doing was going on things like Upwork and looking for adverts for developers, and they'd look at the advert and someone will say, I want an app that does blah, blah, blah. And they go, all right, cool. They go away to Replit, make that app, and then contact this guy and go, I've made the app for you. And then basically sell this person back their own idea.
Yeah.
Which I morally, I'm not entirely sure what ground that is, because you've essentially taken someone's idea of intellectual property, made it, and then sold it back to them. Or you could just sell it on yourself.
It's wild. Yeah, it's wild. There's a wild west of this stuff as well. But it was funny because before you said that, I was going to mention one of the ways that people are making a ton of money, and they're just looking at the most successful apps that you have out there right now, reverse engineering them, making them better in terms of their output with AI, and then relaunching them for a cheaper price.
Which you really could do.
Yeah, because you're just making something more efficient. And I think that's why, for me, in terms of all of this stuff, entertainment, business, AI is a great leveler. Because the reality is, the people that are the most successful in business are the ones who have the most eyes on them. And people will talk about organic and people finding your posts and all of this crap. But in general, it's who's got the biggest ad budget.
Yeah, or who already has some amount of fame or something like that. It's like some companies don't really need to advertise very much because everyone's naturally excited about the new iPhone coming out or whatever. Not everyone, but a lot of people.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but you don't need like loads of adverts for Apple products because people go and seek them out because they go, these are really good products. So yeah, I guess it's like that or like you say, who's got the biggest budget, who can get that product out there to enough people.
Yeah, and this is it. So I think from that level, you can see why there is a world of opportunity. There's also the danger on it because as these things grow and get bigger, companies will come and buy them for the money they have got. And eventually everything will be homogenized as it was when cars first came out, right? When cars first came out, you had hundreds of different car companies that were selling and creating vehicles. And then they all just got bought out by a few big companies. And in the end, you just end up with a few big companies controlling all of that. So, of course, that will happen over time as well. But I see the business landscape as really opening up to new companies. And it's the same as when we had like, when Amazon started or Google started or these other businesses, like it was just Jeff Bezos in his garage selling books. And now it's like the dude's like a Terminator in himself, and it's almost, you can see that these billionaires is like preparing themselves for some kind of future celebrity deathmatch situation.
Yeah, everyone's hitting the gym and or doing martial arts or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So on that side, I think there's generating wealth opportunities that will come for a lot of people, but then for a lot of others, as we mentioned last time, those wealth generating opportunities are going to be taken away. The other side of it is, I wonder if the fact that the population on the earth has got to a stage where it will peak and it will start to dwindle because of the birth rates are dropping everywhere. Even when people say, hey, well, you've got African countries or Asian countries where the birth rates are still high. It's not true. A lot of that is based on data from like the 80s and stuff. That's just not the case anymore. Even in countries where they used to have children because they knew they would need the kids to look after them when they got old, that's not really a thing anymore. So I wonder if, as part of what's coming with AI, is they're going to figure out longevity for humans and what it is to keep people alive for a lot longer than what they are now.
Yeah, completely. I mean, there's already a few different drugs that seem to work well in the kind of anti-aging process. Nothing that seems to halt it so far, but it seems like because our research with the in the field of medicine now will just be able to be done so much quicker through artificial intelligence. So instead of like researching one particular thing for like 5 years, as the tech improves, you'll be able to do it in a couple of weeks because it'll be able to model and simulate all these different things and run tests. And then you can do some actual trials. But by this point, you should know exactly how it's going to work and how it's going to affect different pathways in the body and all kinds of things. So to get to a point where we pretty much stop aging or reverse it, you'd think it would be likely because we kind of have it in nature. So it's like, because aging The best way I've heard it put is that it's like if you have a photo and you take a photocopy, and then you take that photocopy and photocopy that and photocopy it and keep going and going, eventually you get this like grainy sort of picture. And that's what's happening with our DNA as it replicates. It's like a copy, but it's not quite the same as the last one. And then the next copy isn't even. And so over time, you end up with the aging process. There's some animals like I think it's lobsters. Their DNA doesn't degrade, so they could, in theory, live forever if they didn't taste delicious. And it's the same. There's like this thing, the immortal jellyfish, which is this weird jellyfish that reaches maturity, is an adult for a bit, and then reverts back to being a baby. Really,
Wild.
really bizarre. But yeah, there's all these things that we know are out there, and if we could at least get to the stage where our DNA is replicating perfectly, then that would stop the aging process. Whether we could reverse it, possibly, who knows? I'm not an expert on any of these things, but it would be an amazing thing. And so yeah, you could have something where the birth rates go down, but people are living for, I don't know, 100, 150 years or more, whether you'd want to, because I think you get to like 200 years old, it's going to start getting a bit boring. I don't know what you've done everything that there is to do.
You're like, I'm getting sick of this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends, I suppose, how much you've got your health. If you feel fit and strong and you can still do all this. I mean, imagine like 150-year-old bodybuilder. They're going to be ridiculously strong if they've never lost any of that. Oh, how long have you been training for, sir? 130 years.
I've been going to the gym 4 times a week for 130 years.
I mean, you're going to be massive, especially if your DNA's been spliced with a lobster. It's just...
But that, I mean, imagine some for wild stuff as well. It's like in like a decade or two, they might be able to say to people who are like in the 70s, like, how's it going? And be like, oh, my back hurts, I've got this, that. All right, just take this course of tablets. After a week, you'll be basically 25 years old again. It could be insane.
Yeah. And do you think that will be open to all 7 billion people that are currently on the planet, or do you think that might be a little bit more limited?
I think it might be a little bit more limited to people who have the wealth to be able to afford it. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the tricky thing, because obviously a lot of these problems, they are problems of power of computing and understanding to be able to run enough scenarios to figure out what the answer is. And some of it is that things are connected. So you could have 5 different things that are being studied that are all connected in ways that we don't necessarily see. Like we don't see the links between, oh, if you have this issue, it could be affecting this and this and this and this or whatever. And if you can start to run all of those scenarios through an AI that can then think for itself, it's the answers that will come out of the other side that could cure cancer and brain diseases, Alzheimer's, all of these things. Like it's not a million miles away from that being possible. And to be honest, I'm already at a stage where I probably trust an AI over a doctor anyway. I mean, my personal experiences of doctors is they just don't know any answers to anything.
Yeah. It's like that thing we talked about before, and I can't remember the numbers exactly, but it was something like a doctor, when they did this test, it was with like for diagnostics, and the doctor was right. I think it was about 74 or 75% of the time. The doctor with AI was right a couple of percentage more. The AI on its own was right 90 something percent of the time. Because it's like, and it would be because it has all the knowledge at its disposal to search through and reference, and it's not going to forget about things or not have been trained in a certain thing or not be up to date in certain papers. It's got all that, and it goes, okay, so you have all these symptoms, your blood work is this, more than likely this is a problem, and it can just tell you. Whereas, I mean, it varies from country to country, but I know many people in the UK that have had a nightmare with doctors and getting diagnosed for things and all that kind of thing. And then if not, it's like waiting for treatment as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that whole waiting list, if you imagine you had like an AI doctor at the front and then an AI consultant, and even to the point of if I'm choosing surgery, I mean they already do it with like cataract surgery or lens replacement surgeries, where it is a robot being supervised by a surgeon because it's such a they have to be so precise and so direct that it's like I'm already at that point where there's a certain number of services that I would be quite happy for an AI to do it over a human. And it starts at the low level of customer service, but it goes all the way to doctors and all of that stuff. I'd quite happily have robots doing those things rather than humans.
Same. Completely. If you're going in for like a serious form of surgery or something like that, and you've got this machine that's just, it can just do it. It never gets it wrong, never makes mistakes. Sometimes there can be complications in surgery, of course, but it's not the machine making the mistake, because that's doing everything correctly and it's been trained for every eventuality of what could happen. Whereas even the best surgeon could be having a bad day. He's focusing on something else. His head's elsewhere because various things have happened in life, or it could be anything. And it's just one little mistake. The machine's not going to make that. I think definitely with customer services. But then it's like, how far do we go with it? Do we then turn to AI for philosophy and how to live, how to better structure society, how to run countries, how to run the planet? I don't know where to draw the line or what would be more trustworthy, because again, it depends how the AI has been trained or what it's been told to do.
Yeah, well, I think the idea is that the AI eventually outdoes its training, because clearly at the moment it's going to be trained in a way that has human flaws and is basically thinking in a way that a human thinks. But eventually
Yeah.
there'll be enough information available to these AIs for it to be able to just decide.
And just escape the sort of human condition in a way.
Yeah, because there was a story recently where they did a test with Claude.
Oh, where it blackmailed someone.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like basically they let it see some fake emails about him cheating on his wife or whatever, and then when he went to turn it off, for an AI that had different values to his to it, he was like, "Well, if you turn me off, I'm gonna send these emails to your wife, mate. So you better reconsider that."
Which is great, isn't it? It's sort of because it's been trained on like human stories, novels, I guess, themes of TV shows. It's there, and it's like it can be an absolute bastard.
Well, I think what it already knows about, like, it could easily go and find out about all the politicians and all the people leading countries, and it could quite easily then go, hey, listen, I already know all this stuff, so you better make this decision, or this is going to
Yeah.
happen. But I mean, I also think there's stuff like nuclear fission that's we've not really been able to properly figure out and make safe. The AI, that stuff like that's well within the capability of what AI is going to be able to do, which essentially means unlimited power. Is there no reason that AI might be able to figure out how we can harness lightning, for example, and just power
Or like
everything?
the Tesla thing where you get energy from the ionosphere.
Yeah,
Like
this
you had
is
at
it.
Wardenclyffe Tower.
Yeah, to water, to being able to like, because the reason we can't desalinate water is because it's so power intensive to be able to do that. But if we have a way to get power cheaply and safely, then we can just take the rising sea levels and turn it into drinking water.
Yeah, completely. Just so many problems go away when you have
Yeah.
free energy.
Yeah, like robotics that are going and clearing plastic out of the seas, like you name it, right? There's all of these things that you
Yeah.
can just suddenly do. And even if AI then has all the answers to all of these practical situations, I still believe there's then what's left for humans is figuring out like where we came from and what we're doing here.
Yeah, completely. It's all tricky, but yeah, just thinking about the power thing, if we can figure out that's just a huge amount of problems on the planet that just go away because there's so many things that are limited by how much power we have. But when you just basically have unlimited free or cheap energy, you can just produce anything that you want. You can clean things up in any way. It just it's like the whole universe just opening up to us again. And speaking of the universe, it's like advances in physics and things like that. Eventually, it's happened loads of times in the past. This planet gets hit by solar storms, comets, all kinds of different things. It can be extinction level events. Sooner or later, if we want to survive as a species, we need to get off this rock. Whether it's Mars, not really ideal, but if we can make some huge advancements in physics that actually turn us sort of interstellar or intergalactic or something, then the humans and life has a chance to flourish and continue indefinitely.
And then I can finally go and live on my own planet. And just that's it. Just create everything on that planet. Every human can have their own planet that's just developed in the exact way that they like it. And if an AI can go and match you to planets, be like, do you know what? I've seen what you think. I've seen inside your brain. You should go to Planet Jack.
1320. You should go there. It's fine.
Yeah. You should go there, and we're just gonna just blast you there. And a lot of that thing about like longer term space flight is fuel, energy, and food. Obviously, like nutrients, food, water. So
I think as well, it's just actual advancements in propulsion, because to get to another solar system, with like chemical rockets using what we have now, even other ideas with like solar sails and things like that, yeah, it'll get you there, but it's that time thing that's going to take so long. We need to find something else that will be like an instantaneous jump from straight to the other. But there's so much we don't understand about physics, but things like this, we can begin to solve them in a much more efficient way.
yeah, with machines driving that thought process. And it might be the equivalent of like when AI gets to that stage and looks at all of the stuff that we've come through and figured out with physics. It's like,
what's wrong with these idiots?
It's like looking at like a toddler's picture that's like a ball with like arms and legs coming out of it and a face drawn on the middle of it. It's like the equivalent of that.
You go like, that's not fridge material. That's not going on the fridge, son. That's terrible.
Have you seen that episode of Family Guy where Stewie's drawn a picture? And,
no, I haven't.
And basically Peter and Lois are in the kitchen going, oh, yeah, it's so great. Yeah, we're definitely going to put this on the fridge. Oh, you've done such a great job. And then when he leaves, they think he's gone. They're both like, this is not going on the fridge. Look at this. Oh, my God, what even is it? And then you just see him like... funny. Yeah, but I think there's that future is still scary in its own way. A future of going to different planets, of like all of this kind of crazy stuff. It's like, is that really what humans want? And is that going to be the only option? Like, is that it feels like we're at a point where there's no future that isn't drastically different to what we experience today.
Yeah, I think I mean, you could mark it at different points in history. You could say, oh, well, since we invented fire, things have never been the same. Or since we invented electricity, it's everything changed.
Sliced bread.
TikTok, whatever. But it's like, I think the introduction of AI to like a greater degree and being made available more to the public and being used by businesses and various other things, I don't think we can go back to a pre-AI world. And I think everything does change drastically, because it's only going to like get right on that exponential curve from now on and just get more and more accelerated. And there's no going back. Now we've lifted the lid on it. And because we're in this weird arms race as well, where it's like, oh, well, China's developing AI, so we have to as well. Well, I was got to be able to, and you just keep ramping up this thing. There's no way to go back, which could be incredible or not. But whether we like it or not, it's like the genie's out of the bottle and we're going.
Yeah, and I mean, is there a case where you look at all this stuff and it's one of these things that humans, we get something new, we think it's like really, really awesome and amazing, but then it just gets to like its limit, you know? Because we've had like in the past when they first got human flight or whatever with the Wright brothers, and then it was like, okay, we're going to have this, and we'll have flying cars by this time, and we'll have all of this kind of cool technology, and blah 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 blah. And it's like, well, actually, it's not really as good as what everybody is making it out to be, and it's kind of like a new object that's shiny. It's like, oh great, yeah, look, you can make some cool videos, you can make cool content, but what does that actually mean, or what does that actually do? And in the end, do you not end up just breaking the internet? And it's like, and that's it basically. Like what at the moment is a really important function of it? I don't know. It's one of those things where you just never know. Is it actually as good as what people are saying it is, or is it more of an illusion?
Which it definitely could be, because again, everything with AI as well, it's all different AI companies that they're not altruistic. They're not doing it all for like out of the good of their heart or for charity reasons. It's like they want to sell you a product. So it's like, and you get it all the time in the sort of like video and image generation stuff. You go on the website, they'll show you the very best examples of something that's been made. And you go, okay, wow, I'll be making this in the next 2 minutes. Put you prompt in, but it's like as good as it can be. It's like, why does that guy have 7 fingers, or what?
What's that third arm about?
Yeah, so there's always that. And it's same with I was researching an episode using ChatGPT, and it was saying, oh well, yeah, it had the Apple Vision Pros that were released for $3.5 billion, and I was like, are you sure about this statistic? And then it's like, oh, I meant $3,500. Sorry, you're right. And so there's all these like mistakes and things.
Was it Vietnamese money?
Or Monopoly money.
3.5 billion Vietnam dong.
But yeah, so everything probably isn't quite as good as we're told it is, but it still seems like it's pretty good on the whole.
Yeah.
And it's just whether we reach some sort of cap, some kind of limit that we can't get past. And I guess that comes with like something to do with processing or compute power or something like that's when the limit would come.
It is. It's the reliance on AI becoming smart enough to be able to figure out what computers need to be built and how they need to be built with what power, so that they can progress to the next level of thought. And we're at that point now with it where, because it's generally smarter than humans, most AI models now are beating humans in all of the standard tests, like Turing test and all of this stuff. Now, what do you train it on? Because it's already been trained on everything that we could possibly train it on. So now it needs to start training itself. Because by definition, if it's got every piece of information, every piece of knowledge, granted it won't have everything, but in terms of levels of complexity, it's got as much complexity as it's ever going to need. Like, where does it go from here? And how does it learn the next thing? Now it needs to start theorizing.
Yeah.
But it needs to theorize and also know that it could be wrong.
It's a difficult thing because it is a complex system. It's complex like a human brain. But if you think that it's kind of like at the age of a toddler at the moment, usually the toddler would have its parents, or it's about to enter school and go through all of that education system. The AI doesn't have that because it's got nothing to learn from. So it's like just kicking your toddler out the house and going, see you later, kids. You'll be all right. Figure it out. No. And yeah, I don't know how it would learn.
Yeah, it's crazy. And something has to come out of it where, money and all of this stuff, it becomes a thing of the past. Like it needs to be where everybody can access everything, information, education, and pretty much do whatever they wish. But I guess how why would you want to learn anything if the information's already there, if that makes sense? It's kind of like, in some ways, the way I see it is like if you always use a sat nav. I'm showing my age. If you always use Google Maps, which is a sat nav, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you always use Google Maps to get places, you never remember the way, And if you always use AI to find your answers to everything, then you never remember how to do it yourself. And it's not like in the past where you Googled something and then you'd find sources and you'd figure it out yourself with the sources and then apply it. We're getting to the point where you just don't even have to apply it. It's like AI will just do it all for you, and you don't even have to do anything at all around it. And I think that inevitably makes humans less intelligent because there's no need to learn, there's no need to strive, and there's no need to stretch yourself. But then that being said, maybe then humans just sit around and meditate and like whatever and try and figure out why humans are here. But then is there any point to that either? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, and what if the AI philosopher goes, well, there's actually no point in any biological life, really. But on a more positive note, it could kind of mean if we have AI and robotics doing pretty much everything for us, and we don't have to go and work jobs and work long hours and things, maybe it will be a case of we go back to how we were. A lot of researchers believe that pre-industrial hunter-gatherers would be hunting and gathering for about 15 or 20 hours a week.
Right.
And that's kind of all they needed to do. I mean, obviously, depending on geographical location and season and things like that. Or you had other times in history, like medieval times, where a lot of people would work on farms, but that was really seasonal. And then through the farming, it meant that we had enough food. And so, because we had food surpluses, you could start building cathedrals and doing different things like with the time that we had. It was only sort of the Industrial Revolution, really, when we started doing this, like probably the worst times for work, when it was 12 to 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. It's better now than it was, but we could end up back at a stage like it was in sort of almost prehistoric times when we're working as much as hunter-gatherers. And I don't know, do we build a modern day Stonehenge? Do we discover new things?
Minecraft
It'll be a
style.
shock. Yeah. It'll be a shock because it'll be a big change from going from being, well, not speaking personally, but from being a career-minded individual who's got your career and all that kind of thing. That's the main priority, to all of a sudden, oh, you don't have to work anymore. There's nothing to do.
Just needing to exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, 15, 20 hours of hunter gathering, and then the rest of the time spent drawing on cave walls and running over to the next cave with a bat and smacking the women on the head and bringing them back.
Maybe. Yeah.
But then again, I mean, even with that, I suppose there'd be the ability to have an AI wife or an AI husband that's like programmed to,
Never
satisfy
argue.
your every need, whatever that may be. Listen to your stories.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of darkness that could come with that as well. That sounds incredibly dystopian.
It does. Like maybe even you could have sex with your AI wife and then she like incubates your sperm and then takes it away to some kind of lab, puts it with an
Right.
egg, and then incubates it and gives birth to like a human child that's fully your DNA with a robotic partner. You know, this could be the future that we're going into.
It could. I think this was meant to be the bright side of AI. I don't know if that's like, is a very happy thoughts, or is that
Oh, it's
kind of Black
50-50.
Mirror and
I can see the bonuses. If you were the only one who could afford to live to 150 and your first and your second wife have already died,
bring out the robot?
bring out the robots. Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what? Can't handle another human wife.
So he's shouting at me, telling me to have her taken the bins out, have her done this, done that. Oh, robot one's fine.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's that sort of leads us nicely into setting up for the next episode about the metaverse and stuff, because we talk about in this episode us all living in this utopian future, right, with AI. And it's as though we're all just in this world doing our thing. But can you imagine how busy the beaches are going to be in Da Nang if everything's cheap and you can fly places super cheap, and you know everyone's going to go to the nicest places. Nobody's going to stay in like Cleethorpes, are they? You're not going to have anyone going, oh, quite like a weekend in Cleethorpes. Everyone's going to gravitate to the nicest places in the world, aren't they? That's just how it's going to be. If you've got all the time in the world on your hands, then you're just going to go, yeah, your choice between Slough and like some tropical beach in the Philippines, where are you going to go?
Yeah, completely.
So
Unless the virtual reality becomes as real as real reality.
This is it. And I think that's the explanation of the metaverse, because there has to be a plan for that. If we end up in this utopian future where, or we call it utopian, but more we mean a future where there is no need for labor and there is an abundance, which there already is an abundance, right? It's just unlocking that abundance by getting rid of the inefficiency and the unfair nature of existence as we know it right now. Then everybody will want to go and do the same kind of things. Everyone will want to go and visit the same mountains, the same rivers, the same waterfalls, the same beaches. And there won't be a need for people to be in the office or working for the multiple hours that they're doing each day. So if we live in a world of leisure, there's not going to be enough space.
Yeah. Well, there'll be plenty of space, but only in the terrible places that no one wants to go. All the nice places, like you say, would just be absolute free for all, full of crowds of tourists. And oh man, it sounds awful.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, holidays to Haiti will suddenly become desirable. Like,
because it's that thing, you go to some like touristy place and you think, oh, I can't wait to go. This is going to be amazing. I remember with all kinds of places, even like the Sistine Chapel and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to see this. It looks incredible. And then you get there and it's crammed full of tourists, and you're looking up going, yeah, this is cool, but I'm hating every second of being here.
yeah, people are touching me. It's like,
from all sides.
Yeah, I just got sweated on by this like random dude next to me. We just exchanged DNA.
Yeah. This is not good.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, you think to yourself, what would then happen in that situation? Maybe it would then, people would think that there's no need to travel far and wide and you can go and enjoy the parts of your own country that are like that. But I mean, if you've ever been to Cornwall or something in the UK in the summer, it's horrendous as well. There's the travel. But again, maybe all of these modes of travel will no longer be required. We'll be able to go there by personal transformer drone, and like a one man, it just sets off and takes you there and drops you off. So all of the annoyances of like crowds and movement and all of that stuff are taken away. Who knows?
Yeah, there's just a lot of things that we haven't figured out because we can't really see it, because it is that thing of like the singularity. It's like this thing that's coming with so much more intelligence than us. We can't see beyond that boundary, so we can't imagine what this thing will create. But at the same time, it's like we could be moving into those times of, I don't know, shows like The Jetsons or something like that used to be popular on TV when I was a kid, and I can't remember when it was set, but it's sometime in the future, and everything's like robots.
2005 or something.
Yeah, but it's like we might actually be moving into that very soon, and it could be an amazing place, but it's just full of abundance.
Well, let's see. It could go one way or the other. I think that brings us nicely to the end of today's episode. And we'd like to hear your thoughts at Temp Scripted on X, because obviously last time we went through the dystopia. This time we've gone through the utopia. And we struggled with this side because it's really hard for us to be optimistic about anything being middle-aged men. It's just how we roll. Next week, we're going to dig into one of the potential futures in terms of the metaverse, and whether the metaverse itself is a good thing or a bad thing for humanity. And in that episode, we will look at all of the good, all of the bad, and all of the downright scary. So until next time, Adam, as always, it's been a pleasure.
As always, see you next time, folks.
And make sure you like, subscribe, share with your friends, go over to our website, and keep following us here at Temporally Scripted. We appreciate every single one of the 13 of you.